Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have another Wargame Red Dragon replay. This is my first ranked game ever, and, well, it was hotly contested, so don't mind the fact that I am showing up as red. It's actually a blue 4 v blue 4 mirror match. I'm playing the Blue Dragons Coalition, which is a bit of a favorite of mine. I know they're not the strongest, but, well, they're decent, and I know the alerts are a little bit loud. Not quite sure how to turn those down, so just bear with me. And the plan off the bat is to secure Bravo if we can in golf and just really push forward without really surrendering Charlie and sort of getting recon up in Foxtrot. So you can see I've pulled out two Hachinanashiki recon vehicles from deployment, and we also have an OH-6D recon helicopter that's moving over to our eastern flank to try to prevent any sort of early game shenanigans and other things like that. And so I leave Chumat here, and they are hopefully getting sort of a reserve position in case I can't take golf. And now I see, okay, I'm too late. Not only am I too late in golf, I'm probably too late in Bravo as well. So what do? Well, we get the Yebigun, the militia, out of here and hopefully out into the forest, move back a little bit, secure the woods and the town here, and maybe try to form a little bit of a bunker. So my K1 is going to get hit by ATGMs because I'm not being careful, and there's the kill. Oh, no. Oh, I thought it died, but there's the kill. Yep. And now I just have a couple AA pieces. Nanyan Shiki G takes an ATGM to the dome piece, and that's a very common thing that I should have expected. An ATGM right in this building here is very common. It's a wonderful sightline, it's very effective, and I'm just being pushed back completely. So I think he's also playing either Blue Dragons or South Korea, something like that. Those are Hudao Run. Yeah, okay, so KM900s, H1Ts. Yeah, this is a bit of a mirror match, and I played a lot of mirror matches actually that day. I think there were 2 mirror matches out of 3 games, and Nanyan Shiki G is spotted and killed by an AH-1T. So right off the bat, I have kind of folded. I've lost the middle ground in golf, I've lost the middle ground in Bravo, and not even really been able to secure Foxtrot too well. We do bring up a CV, and I am getting passive ticking, but you know, if I keep the ticking points and I lose the actual fights, I'm going to lose Charlie, I'm going to lose Foxtrot, and it's not really going to work out that well. So I bring out some mortars, and I kind of regret this now, but what I wanted to do was prevent those Hudao Ren from getting their recoilless rifles online. Of course, I chose the damage mode instead of smoke because I was kind of panicking at this point and didn't really realize, and my Yebigun are going to get absolutely chewed through by Hebyong 90. Of course, they are South Korean shock troops, 15 strength per squad, and double squad meta is alive and well. However, the Hudao Ren are actually failing to kill these K200s with any sort of haste and getting kind of worn down by the 50 cal there. Although I think they'll eventually get through. And I'm bringing up reinforcements, Gongbyong, because I felt like bringing napalm infantry, and I do kind of get a little bit of a surround here. So he brings his Hebyong 90 out of the forest and into infantry fighting vehicles. As you can see, I'm trying to keep some sort of forward recon. I'm just trying to stay alive at this point and drown him in infantry if I can. So cheap militia coming out. Overwhelming. I mean, Hebyong 90 are very effective, but they're also extraordinarily expensive. That one group is worth 70 points for the double squad. My Yebigun are worth 10 points for the double squad, so I can literally go 7.5 to 1, although it doesn't quite work like that, and try for some sort of value. Of course, there are the, it's not really like that because there's infantry fighting vehicles or armored personnel carriers as well, so it's a little bit more tricky math. And Vulcan cannons are wonderful for shredding infantry, as it turns out, so I've had that used against me a couple of times, particularly by mock bets from one of my buddies who likes to play Israel. So there's an AH-1T, and those rocket pods are a problem, but now we have a lot of infantry support vehicles forward. KFV 4050s, excellent at killing infantry, although they do get shot on the side by these Hebyong 90. As you can see, one of them is still going, and those grenades will at least do some amount of panic before they're taken out completely. We do get their scout vehicle, and at this point I'm feeling a little bit more complicated, sorry, a little bit more confident in this complicated situation. There's also a Sam Mistral, which I'm hoping will get some good shots in the UH-1H, and I finally brought some KFE-90s forward. Now, he's trying to push me on this side. That alert is really ear-jarringly loud, isn't it? Yeah, I do apologize for that. Hachi Nanashiki, we have a seaplane coming in and sniping one of my expensive radar pieces, but I'm going after him with KF-16 and being a little bit cagey. I do pull back before I get the kill. At least it'll slow things down. K1A1, very large tank, and it's going to die to a Peace Pheasant 2. I think it's dead. Let me see. Go to neutral. Yes. Smacked right in the face by a TGM plane, and that's over 100 points off the field. We're starting to make up the difference. Starting to push into Bravo a little bit. I have Yevagun, Sochin Su, and a KFE 4050. Really not ideal for this. You need an autocannon for that sort of close-in work in forest from my experience, but we do get a little bit of oddball damage, or at least panicking. Yes, that's the thing. An autocannon would have been much more effective there at killing that Hawk Pip 2 than the KFV was. My opponent has now secured Golf, he's secured Alpha, Hotel, and Delta, which means he's now getting a passive +1. But if we can secure Bravo, we can turn that tide around. And I think he actually still does have, yeah, he still has infantry here. Lots of Hebyoung 90, very expensive pieces, and I think that's sort of his undoing. So I'm a little bit not cautious enough here. I should have known he had things in the forest, and I'm not adequately prepared for it. Moving over to the Nanayon Shiki G, because it does carry that grenade launcher that is absolutely wonderful for infantry fighting support. And as a little bit of a sort of lull, so we'll speed things up from ×2 to ×3, I am able to get a recon vehicle around towards his back node here. I kind of wondered maybe that would be something we could pull off, and unfortunately an AH-1T does take an act. He really likes those helicopters, which is why I brought out another BIHO. I do think I micro this one a little better, I'm not entirely sure. And the Hebyoung 90 trying to push again and really just not going well for them. I do have now mortar support online as well. That'll be panicking and stunning this Hebyoung as well as providing damage. And we finally got the AA net up a little bit better with these Mistrals, sort of really in a good position, firing even at airplanes, although not enough to kill. And my KF-16C, wow, that alarm is just persistent, isn't it? Hold on just a moment. Take a look at that. Sound effects volume is down already. Yeah, there's nothing I can really do about that. I do apologize. Don't really want to turn the guns down anymore unless people are still telling me that it's a little bit loud. But we'll see what we can do. And let's keep going on 3. So we're finally able to deal with these Hebyoung 90 that have been in my woods for far too long. Hachikyu Shikis driving up, these are the heavy hitters. They're absolutely incredibly cost effective from my experience with them, as long as they're not in the front line anyway. And that Block 16 was looking for my BIHO, but the radar gun is off, and I have another scout vehicle over there able to discourage any sort of flanking helicopters and just make him think that I'm maybe better defended than I am. We do have a Fiat 6616 moving up this way as well, and it's just, again, trying to prevent any trickery. I do unfortunately lose a Peace Pheasant 1, a bomber, that I was hoping would get some pretty good work done, but we're getting some damage now. I think I had meant to call out the Peace Pheasant 2, by the way. I was shooting at that K1, and I pulled out the wrong bomber. Yep, there it is. And we get the K1, and I lose the plane. So that's the second one I've lost. That Ninja got the kill, which is really aggravating, but it was worth it at the time, at least in my opinion, because I'm really trying to secure a foothold here. That K1 was providing very nice covering fire and threatening my position in these western woods. So at this point, we're kind of getting a bit more secure here. My Sujo Buntai are able to handle those IFVs. There's more Hebyoung 90 coming in, and at this point I sort of have a realization. I see the Hebyoung 90, I realize, okay, my opponent here absolutely loves expensive infantry. And yeah, they perform, as long as they don't encounter something they're not meant to deal with. We do also get another kill on the H1T with our Mistrals for being resupplied. One of the things that those Hebyoung are not meant to deal with is mortar fire. So they are panicked, they are not shooting at top efficiency, and my Sujo Buntai are going to punch above their weight, as evidenced from this one short exchange while that is true, although K1 supporting will turn that around. I move back the Mitsubishi CV because we are getting pushed here, and now Peace Pheasant comes in. There we go. We do save the Peace Pheasant this time, although there was some sort of AA fire that went in, and, well, my opponent's back to ticking +1, so not exactly great for me, but my Sujo Buntai have survived, and he moves his K1 up almost to the Mistral, and it gets side-shotted by the last Sujo Buntai in that group, as well as 2 frontal shots from the M67 Han, who do carry 1400 meter range recoilless rifles. So we've killed a couple tanks. I'm feeling a little bit better about the cost trading at this point. At least not as bad about the cost trading at this point. I'm still losing expensive planes. I lost an expensive, well, relatively expensive AA piece. But at least, you know, now we have infantry sort of flooding the section. We've Hachikyū Shikis up to support, and those autocannons will shred helicopters that get too close as well, calling up more and more and more, and now we're moving up JSDF Rangers into these woods. So I spot what I think is an AA piece up there. It looks like it. Wow, that guy likes to shout. And what I'm getting ready to do is, well, push into Golf. Because I can secure Bravo all I want, but we're at a points tie at this point. And my Fiat is moving up. He's counter-capped me now in Bravo, and this is kind of what I was afraid of for just sitting still. It's very easy to put something up here in those top woods. Let me just show this. Yeah, so he's got infantry, Habyung. He's got infantry. This probably an IFV. Nope, that's another infantry group. And there's something in these woods as well. And that looks like a command vehicle and or a supply truck, or both. So I know that without pushing up and completely taking these woods, it's going to be very hard for me to hold a cap on Bravo. Much easier for him to hold a cap on Golf. I see the Tansam short arrow. That's what was providing that really long-range fire. And we bring in some bombers. I had, yeah, that's embarrassing. I had vision on the K1 when I called that Peace Pheasant 2 in. I lost it, and he wasn't able to fire, unfortunately. Hudao Ren running into my M67 Han. Not exactly the best engagement for the Han. They are better at longer ranges, and I'm just trying to throw bodies at the problem at this point. Yeah, I mean, it works eventually, maybe. We'll see anyway. And that ninja is getting up nice and close. I want him gone. I don't have the tools to do it. And you can see now, having brought up the 75 MSSR, I'm looking just for pure panic here. My Hans are trying to get up to get side shots in the K1, but they both miss, both volleys, and the K1 is getting away. One single hit point left, which is extremely infuriating, being microed very well by my opponent, who's also bringing up another AH-1T to support. OH Ninja and the H-1T able to do very nice work. We finally get the K1, and this Kyoroku is, well, quite annoying. I don't tend to go for it because I tend to run mechanized decks when I do Blue Dragons, but it is a very fast, very mobile grenade launcher, and yet more Habyung 90, and they ordinarily would chew right through these Yabagun. But let's see what happens. So my JSDF Rangers are eyeing things in Golf. There's another vehicle coming up this way, and we're so close to getting sort of where we need to be here, pushing them out, getting a hold in these woods, and yep, another AH-1J. This is one of the 55-point versions. I think he was getting tired of having the expensive ones shot down just for the rocket pod use, so the 1J is a more cost-effective choice. And now we're smoking up his ATGMs. We're pushing a Hachikyū Shiki forward so I can see that the Habyung, and we're going to use this cliff against my opponent. We're going to use the fact that this blocks line of sight from up above. We have now control of these woods, which means that I can get quickly on the move, just bypass this town, and go after that Tansam short arrow and his cargo. So, yes, he's pushed us out of Bravo, but we're starting to finally push him a little bit in Golf. And, well, yeah, I mean, doesn't exactly work when the K1 gets there, but we have our own, and his K1's firing on my Rangers, so mine is firing on him. Now, the Chumot there, absolutely incredibly annoying, just able to see through the smoke. This is why you're supposed to smoke your own vehicles instead of the enemy positions for that, and had I done so, I would have been much better off. But alas, I am still learning. JSDF Rangers unwisely giving away their position in front of a K1, and we have a Peace Pheasant come in, doesn't even kill the Chumot, with a nearly direct hit, but we do get a nice shot on his JSTF Rangers, and I have a Nani on Shiki-G moving up to support, along with a Mistral, hopefully to deny future, well, rocket pod helicopter runs. In the midst of this, we're now pushing up with a, well, relatively large combined arms force. We have the KAFVs, the Nani on Shiki-G, more KAFVs, and the KFV-25 with the autocannon is able to handle those helicopters, while the KFV-4050s deal with Hudo Run in towns using their grenade launchers. This is not ideal. I'd want some recon infantry here, ideally, to prevent, well, exactly that side shot fire from absolutely decimating my IFVs. But I've learned, you know, those K1s that he keeps bringing out, I don't think they're necessarily the right tool for this. Because, yeah, I'm losing a lot of IFVs here, but he's losing a lot of K1s, and the IFVs are certainly cheaper and allow me to bring out infantry support as well. So we did kill his command infantry in this town, and my Mistral is doing his job ever so slightly, firing up there at that now killed helicopter. So we're slowly getting more pressure, and more pressure, and more pressure. We're back to a +1 on the score, and he has just secured it, but I saw him do it. And because I saw him do it, we can respond to it in a decent way. KAFV's moving up to his reinforcement points. This is a trick I've done on this map a couple of times. When you secure this bit of woods, it's often really easy to make a dash right down this section of trees with some autocannon carriers, and your opponent might not expect it, might be bringing in either helicopters or paratrooper reinforcements, and you can sometimes get some good work done, but unfortunately I got counterfired a little hard there. And the K1's pushing forward once again, getting a little bit dangerous. Bomber coming in, I was hunting for his command vehicle, and it wasn't there actually. If we look, it was command infantry in that town. I don't figure that out the entire game, unfortunately. And so these bombing runs don't achieve their goals. I thought it'd be a command vehicle back there, I was going for it. The most I get are a couple resupply vehicles instead. Chumot able to finally return the favor and get a K1 kill of their own, and more mortar fire going in at this town, because I'm so tired of those cost-effective infantry securing Gulf. And we do get a kill on a bomber. He's hunting for my CV and Bravo as well, and unsuccessfully as well, so I mean, those sort of blind hunts are not what you want to do. And our Mistral unfortunately misses, so the AH-1J does get away. We're going to go a little bit faster. Well, no, 2 is fine. And the Mistral gets a little too close to JSTF Rangers, so I do lose one. Just too bad. These guys have done excellent work. Return fire from the mortars hopefully gets a little bit done, and we have an OH-6D going up looking for the use of those rocket pods against the Rangers. The rocket pod's actually going against the K1 instead, and I'm kind of mad about this because, well, they could have killed the Rangers, but they barely even worried the K1, dealt a single point of damage to it, but he thinks my Mistrals are dead, and that's a mistake that costs him. OH-60 moving up, and the Rangers are in range of the KM-113, and K1 is in range of my Chumot. They use their second to last missiles. Oh, yeah, okay. Completely missed that volley. This K1 should have been either smoked or pulled back at this point, but it wasn't. And we're able to kill both the CV and the K1 with a bombing run. Took just the last point off them. My Chumot, well, they weren't exactly tops of their class, shall we say. Mistral, despite there only being one, is able to take down another helicopter. We're able to take down an air superiority fighter, and things are starting to turn sour for my opponent. With only 5 minutes left in the match, we finally relieved the constant pressure on, okay, if we're not pushing, we're losing. To the point where I actually don't realize that I've forgotten to unload these infantry, so that just happens there, and we're able to stop a little too desperate push through the forest here. I think my opponent at this point just grabbed everything he had and kind of threw it at the wall. And if we take a look at the neutral, I mean, he still has a lot of things back here, right? Like, there's a K1, this town is well secured, Hudo Run and Mistrals. Ninja, I think he was a little overzealous on the AA, maybe? Hawk Pip 2, oh, wow. Another short arrow, I mean, just lots of AA, and comparatively light on the rest of the tools left in the toolbox at this point. We do, yeah, Ninja gets my scout vehicle there, well, scout helo there, and the Hawk Pip does some nice work. I just was trying to make sure he couldn't countercap me. and that K1 gets too close to Yebagun, of all things. So, most cost-effective militia that I think I've ever seen in my life. We have a K200 going forward, Jiwi Cha. I mean, he's trying to contest Bravo, but at this point, SCV is the wrong pick. You want to be pushing me off one of these points militarily, and then dealing with it, because his problem is time, it's not the ticking necessarily. He still has this town, and I put up some Sochung Su, supported by a K1 and another KFE on the way, to try to do something about it. Chuma, with one missile left, not quite able to pull their weight. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the end of the match at this point. He brings out a K9 Thunder, of all things, just to go last-minute CV hunting, and let's follow that. Yeah, no. So he thought I was heading over there. He does get a couple of my cargo vehicles, but it's not the kill that he needed to slow things down. No, he even hurt the Mistrals. That's not exactly what I was hoping for, and I'm just holding in. I'm digging at this point because we have a minute left in the match. I'm up by 100 points on the ticking at +2, so I'm not really worried anymore about this match going sour. But compared to how it started, I did not expect this finish at all. I thought I would, be doing my first step into Red Dragon ranked and getting absolutely smacked, which, I mean, the next match I did, but this one not so much. Okay, and that's the match, and if we take a look at the kills, losses, I mean, it's not horrible. There was, what, a 900 or so point difference, which it's not extraordinarily close, but it's not extraordinarily far either, and I certainly started off down by probably a couple hundred points. So, because I was switching around things, we didn't exactly get a full list of what killed what. But we did have some very cost-effective Mistrals, we had some very cost-effective infantry and IFVs, and really that has affected my playstyle since then, because, well, you're supposed to lean into your strengths, and apparently I make good use of infantry and IFVs on occasion. Well, not always. Alright, well that's all we got for today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.